So, here's the deal. Putin's making it clear he's had enough of what he sees as the West's constant provocation. He's accusing Western leaders of pushing Russia right to its red line, which he says he absolutely won't tolerate. And if the US decides to deploy short and medium-range missiles near Russian borders, Putin says Moscow will have no choice but to respond. During a defense meeting, Putin didn't hold back. He called out Western tactics, claiming they're all about scaring their own populations with the so-called Russian threat. His words, pretty blunt. They push us to the red line, we respond, and then they use that to terrify their people, just like they did with the Soviet threat back in the day. Now it's the Russian threat. What's got Putin even more worked up is the possibility of US missile deployments. He's saying that if Washington moves forward, Russia will scrap all its voluntary limitations on missile deployment. He also talked about the situation in Ukraine, claiming Russian forces are in control of 189 settlements, and emphasizing that Russia's nuclear arsenal is purely for deterrence. According to him, the number of volunteers signing up for the Russian military has turned the tide of the conflict in Moscow's favor. And here's something worth noting. Putin said over 430,000 Russians signed military contracts this year, up from 300,000 last year. He seemed pretty confident, saying, "Thanks to this flow of volunteers, we're seeing a turning point on the front line." Putin called 2023 a watershed year for achieving Russia's objectives in Ukraine, and claimed Russian forces are maintaining strategic initiative across the entire line of contact. Whether you believe him or not, this is a narrative Moscow is doubling down on as it continues its push in Ukraine.